Hello guys, and weird things are happening in the swampy forests near Moscow because another Russian war criminal was neutralized there. Perhaps all because of the very important and complicated work of the Ukrainian intelligence. Shatsky was one of the Russian scientists responsible for the reconstruction of their old missiles X-59 to a newer version X-69. And you know that Russian always target these missiles on Ukrainian infrastructure, and this very developer was also responsible for the work on new Russian drones, but not anymore because he joined the majority of the Russian army in hell. And hopefully sometime soon Putin will join his team. Of course, there. So let's discuss why such operations are important for the victory, for justice, and of course for the peace and security in this world after the demilitarization of Russia. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and actually today I am in the heart of Ukraine, our brave capital, perhaps the bravest city in the world, Kyiv. And it seems fun. Whenever we have Oreshnik forecast, I am heading here, and you know, I always feel better and safer when I am in Kyiv, when I'm in Ukraine, than when I'm traveling. So join the community of the channel, demonstrate your solidarity with the people of Ukraine, and see online, observe the defeat of the Russian Federation. It is coming. It has already started. So let's begin with the brief intro about Shatsky. He is a Russian scientist, a developer, a head of the Construction Bureau and Research Institution under the name Mars. There, they were working on the improvement of old Russian or even Soviet missiles to their better versions. And here we have the first very important conclusion. Most of Russian weapons, even Oreshnik, is not something new. This is old Soviet or Russian crap, updated, rebranded, and mainly used to frighten the world with news and to try to persuade Ukrainians to flee the country, to appease their dictator, but it doesn't work like that. So Shatsky in that bureau was working on X-59 missiles to make them X-69 missiles and also on various drones. And he was found in a forest. He was neutralized, and the photos are not good for YouTube and sensitive people because, you know, neutralized Russians do not always look good. And it is a special operation of the Ukrainian HUR that they performed far from the Ukrainian borders, actually close to the heart of the Russian Empire, which is another important thing we have to remember, that any Russian criminal, Russian war criminal, can and will be reached, because justice is super important for the lasting peace and guarantees that no other insane dictator would try to repeat something similar. Unfortunately, we observe this epidemic of authoritarian regimes rising, but we also at the start of the epidemic of collapsing of these dictatorships. That's exactly what we witness in Syria. And honestly, as a Ukrainian, I wonder why after so many news, after so many videos and photos from Syrian prisons that are terrifying, that remind us the horrors of the Second World War, and knowing that Assad escaped to Moscow and Putin protects this extremely bloodthirsty maniac, no one is taking it as one more reason to defeat Russia and the faster the better. Subscribe to see the collapse of the Federation that is coming, and also to protect yourself against the evil, toxic narratives that they spread in your countries as the part of the hybrid warfare. And unfortunately, out of different kinds of troops, Russian informational troops are working really well to destabilize us, to quarrel the allies, and to distort the truth when it's actually very, very obvious. So many of these Russian war criminals, starting from the minor ones that are on the front lines and finishing with the ones that develop strategies or introduce or steal actually technologies and use them in the army, all of them have to feel they will be reached and justice will be served to them by the Ukrainian armed forces. It reminds me once again the post-Second World War period, when many of the former war criminals escaped to different corners of the world, changed their appearance, and hope they will never be found, but the majority of them were reached and were neutralized. I hope Ukraine has a similar plan, because I am sick and tired of this repeated attacks from the Russian side, 100 years ago from the Russian Empire, 50 years ago from the Soviet Union, and now from what it calls as a federation, when in reality it's just one and the same monster. So Shatsky joined a good number of such war criminals that were already neutralized, and what I personally like, it happens not on the front lines, it doesn't happen in Ukraine or on the temporarily occupied territories, it happens inside Russia. So they cannot feel safe inside Russia. And I'm sure that this structure of Putin's bunkers and the epidemic of fear inside the so-called Russian elite is another proof that they realize justice will be served. But some good things will also be served to the Ukrainian front lines, and all because of an NAFO campaign, and that is actually why I'm in Kyiv, apart from some other things. And tomorrow I will be Santa's helper. How would you name a reindeer like that? Let me know in the comments below. So join me on Instagram, X, Threads, Discord, Blue Sky to follow some real life updates. And I hope that you will feel how important it is to be a part of something bigger. And I'm very grateful that we have our community and that we actually change a lot for the better. So it's not about politicians, it's not always about decision makers, sometimes it's just about us people uniting in beautiful communities. So thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. But most importantly, keep standing with us. Russia is on the edge of collapse. Its economy, its military, it's a pathetic Botox dictator. Everything is very weak, and we can and we will defeat them. We just have to remain united. Slava Ukraini!